exhibit. Our excellent keeper staff, vet staff responded immediately. We went into what around the zoo here we call a code red. We got visuals on the animals. Our keepers all were in covered closed vehicles. We got all of our visitors that were in Africa to safe places, buildings, back areas. That's our primary response mechanism: visitor safety, keeper safety, and then animal safety. We had the chimps surrounded. We had keepers down in that area. It's about the end of day, so we were about ready to bring them in anyway. Now we found that they somehow obtained a piece of log, a piece of a tree, about 6 foot long. We go out and walk the exhibit every day. Keeper staff does, looking for things like that. They did that this morning. Didn't find anything. Our problem becomes chimps are so much stronger than humans that they can go up in a tree and pull on something long enough and pull a piece of log off. That's apparently what happened. We had one ringleader. I'm not sure who that was, but he got that log, put it on the wall, got up on top. Somehow then he beckoned other chimps to come over and join him and lured about 6 of them up with him. Out of 12 chimps in that exhibit, 7 of them were up on the wall. 2 or 3 of them got over on the keeper side of the wall. They were around the holding building. At no time were they anywhere near public area. We did have public safe, but at no time was anybody in any danger. But just the really training and calmness of our keeper staff, our employees, led to a successful recapture of the animals. They all came back on their own. We used food as the final enticement when they came back over the wall. They're just really like dogs and cats. If you've got an inside dog and a cat, they get outside. They rarely do they run off. They sort of stay around home base. Our animals here at the zoo most of the time are that way. They're in a new environment. They're very comfortable. Chimps are very territorial. They want to stay close to home where they know their food and bedrooms are. So that's what happened again. This happened back in 2004 when I first arrived in April. We had a extremely windy spring, gustier winds than we've had this spring, and we had a tree actually fall over from the Swope Park side of the zoo, landed on top of the containment wall, fell down, part of it fell down into the exhibit, and we had a number of chimps get out, similar to what happened today. Same scenario, calmness. We surrounded the animals and sort of moved them in, herded them in, much like a cattle drive with vehicles, and just kept pushing them back towards the building. Very calmly, they all went in then safely, and that's what happened today.
Any changes to protocol? Obviously, you couldn't predict that these chimps would use a law to escape. Anything that you guys can do differently?
The thing that we'll do tomorrow, the chimps won't be on exhibit tomorrow. We'll have a crew go out into the exhibit and start looking in earnest for the weak parts of the trees. If there's any branches that look like it might be something that a chimp pulls down. It's the beauty of the exhibit is the open space of it, how the chimps can climb around, but then you're talking 60, 70 foot tall trees. If they get up in there and pull something down, again, chimps are so smart, and then they live in this big social group, so hey, I found a way out. Why doesn't everybody come and join me?
So Randy, how many actually got over the wall?
We had 7 that were up on the wall. We had 2 or 3 that actually got down on the other side of the wall.
And that's how many you had to corral to get back?
We had to get the 7 back into the building.
But they were never in where people walk around.
They were never in any public area. They were very close to their holding building. Their holding building sits quite a ways from where the public is in the exhibit space. If you go down where the viewing building is, that's at least 100 yards, 150 yards from the holding building. That's as close as the chimps got to where the public would have been, but all public were in safe and locked places.
How many of the whole group were the closest to the public? I'm a little confused. You said 7.
7 were up on the wall. 3 of the 7 got down in the keeper area on the keeper side of the wall. Okay, so 4 of them stayed up on top of the wall, never came down. 3 of them got down, they came back up, came in.
How many visitors were here today?
We had about 1,800 zoo visitors today, I think, more or less. But by the time 4 o'clock gets here, it thins out quite a bit. I would guess we had somewhere between 100, maybe 200 at most that were out in the Africa exhibit, but that was spread out through the entire exhibit area. We did have a few that we had contained in the chimp viewing building.
So when you say that no one was ever in danger, I mean, we have 3 of them near the keepers, where the
keepers were in locked vehicles.
Okay.
Yeah, keepers were always safe. That is our animal emergency protocol. They get in vehicles that are locked. The chimps can't get in with them. So it's always about the safety of everybody. We start with visitors, keepers, the animals, and when you treat it that way, you go into use the training that we've had here at the zoo. This is what happens. We successfully got the animals back in, and nobody got hurt, including the animals.
How big are these chimps?
Probably the biggest is 150 pounds, maybe, and the smallest of the ones that got out, maybe 80 pounds.
But they're tremendously strong.
They're tremendously strong. That's the issue. You can't even measure their strength, and that's what they obviously use to pull a branch off.
And they use tools. I mean, that's kind of...
That's what chimps do, and they figure things out.
Unique thing about chimps?
That's a unique thing about chimps and great apes is they will use that intelligence they have to sort of problem solve. Well, they solved a problem, but fortunately they weren't looking to get out and leave. Just that experience of getting up on the wall. Hey, I'm here.
Do we know how many people, you said there were 1,800 visitors today, do we know how many of those 1,800 were near that exhibit?
No. By that time of day, there were probably 200 out in Africa. Africa is 100 acres.
And what time of day was it?
Around 4 o'clock.
Are chimps mean animals?
No, they're very territorial. They can be mean to each other to establish their social dominance. But we treat them with great respect. And
all right, you've been listening to Zoo Director Randy Wisthoff talking about the big chimp day at the zoo today when one of them led a group of 6 others out. Interesting, on our 4 o'clock hour, they were saying they wanted to make sure that they were controlled and not getting out again. And we watched one go up to this log that was propped against the wall and walk up it and down it and got back up on the wall. So very interesting to see how they pulled this off.
And like he just said, these are really intelligent animals, and it was almost like they were just excited to have made the victory of getting on the wall, because they sort of made their own path, and then the leader of the pack then encouraged the others to get up there. And he even said they weren't really trying to escape per se, they were just excited to have gotten up there. And then he reminded us that there were 7 total on the wall, and that 3 of them got over to the keeper side of the wall, and the other 4 just stayed up there until they were able to get them back all down into the habitat.
The good thing, nobody got hurt. The animals are good too, so everything's all. We'll have all this on KSHB.com. If you want to look at some of the video and pictures we've got, we'll have that there.
Glad that it all got resolved calmly, and they got their day on the wall. All right, everyone, and moving on.